Okay. This way, if people can't hop on and join us or they missed the first part of it or whatever, they can come back and listen in. So before I get started, um, are there any particular questions that you specifically want me to address? And Nancy, if
I'm
you're
good. I don't know about anybody else. If
okay,
my sister joins, she might have some.
okay. Well,
She probably get done went to sleep. I
I, I was getting that way. It's been a rainy day in Georgia, and I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna do this, and we'll
Yeah,
get
that's
started.
the way it's been here. And I get up early to go in at the restaurant.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we will go ahead and get started, and if people join us, then they can just chime in any questions they have. So, what I thought I'd do is just kind of walk through it. I started out trying to do some looms so I could have them just uploaded for people to watch, and it was tedious because the account that I had um, set up, the free account just gives you 5 minutes. So I would do a 5 minute one and then I'd have to stop and then I'd have to start over. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to do a Zoom. I'm going to do the whole thing and then we'll have that uploaded. I'll put it on YouTube and anybody can use it. So I think it's pretty obvious the differences between retail preferred and social retailers. I'm not sure that everybody knows because we can't see it in our back office, but those that are on auto ship when their subscriptions run, you are accruing points that we will have access to when we get our new back office. So even though you haven't seen them yet and you haven't been able to access them, it will be a way for you to get product credit or free products. I'm not so sure exactly how it's going to work, but I do know that Scott said we're accruing points. Um, Social retailers, this is something that I wish we were training a little bit differently on because people get confused. In order to be active, you have to have 100 PV. A lot of people will rely on their customer PV instead of their own order. I've even had retailers that will order on a customer account underneath them, thinking that they're going to get credit for that because they were told that in the beginning. 100 PV is required for you to be active. It's what qualifies you. And if you don't place an order for 100 PV, then you lose the commission on 100 PV of your customer orders, which, if that's what you choose to do, you can. But I think as retailers, we ought to be at least using 100 PV worth of product every month. And it just makes sense to put it on your account. For example, if you have a customer, let's say you've got 300 PV in customer volume, you've got three brand new customers, they all ordered combos. You only get paid for two of those if you don't have your own order. So I think we should be training everybody to put their own orders in so they don't miss out. So you don't have to explain, well, this is why you're missing 35 extra dollars in commission because you didn't order yourself. That's just something I think it's great for people who are coming into the business and maybe don't have the money, but they still are sharing the product. They just need to know they're giving up that commission if they don't put an order in themselves. Um, so I wanted to be sure we covered that. Then there's the difference between the placement tree and the enrollment tree. This is something I did not understand, so I'm going to see if I can explain this too. So if you just allow your enrollments to fall in underneath you and you don't place any of them, this is a unilevel, so we build wide. They will all go in a line straight across. They're all on what we call your level one. Your enrollment tree and your placement tree would look the same. If you decided to put Bob under Sue because they have a relationship, then you are combining your enrollment tree into your placement tree. And they still count as active for you, but all that volume would count as only one leg. Bob's volume no longer counts as its own separate leg if Bob is put under Sue. And I'll explain that a little bit more when we get to the unit level. But that's important because you have to have 5 separate legs, and you can't have more than X percentage of volume from any one leg, or only that much will count towards your rank. So it's not bad to help your team. You just want to be careful that you don't put all your heavy hitters in the same basket, so to speak, because it only counts once. And it's also, this is how I teach. We each run our own business. We can do it however we want to, but this is how I teach. I teach not to place down below your level 2. And if I'm going to place Bob under Sue, I'm going to have a conversation with Sue first, and I'm going to say, Sue, I'm going to help you, give you some extra volume, but what your job is to do is now pay it forward. So Sue will build under Bob, still only going to level 2 for her. We're not going to build deep, because if you build deep, then you're going to push your volume beyond what you get paid on. But if you're all helping one another and you're paying it forward, then you won't ever have to go past level 2, because each person will pay it forward and put somebody under the other person. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Now we'll move on to periods and types. Our weekly pay, we get paid on Tuesday for what happened the week before. The week ends on Friday, starts on Saturday. So anything from Saturday to Friday, we get paid the next Tuesday on. And that's going to be your customer bonuses. It's going to be your fast start bonuses. That's what you paid on weekly. So if you don't have any customers order during a week, then you won't get paid anything for that week. Even though you might have volume for the month, your weekly is just based on customers. If you had only retailers that ordered that week, you wouldn't get paid on it. Only on customers and only on fast starts. And then our monthly pay is going to be our unilevel pay, our rank pay, and our global leadership pool. I think we all know that the fast start is for the first 12 weeks. I think a lot of people get confused about this. So I want to be sure everybody understands this also. It is not your first 12 weeks. It is your enrollee's first 12 weeks. So I could have been in the business for 3 years, but if I enroll somebody tomorrow for the next 12 weeks, I'll get paid an extra 25% on anything they order. It's for your enrollee's volume, time frame, not your own. We'll talk about the unilevel pay and the rank bonuses here in just a second. Some of this will change soon. We have been working on some enhancements to the comp plan, and Tim is working on a new back office system for us. So it will all kind of roll out at the same time instead of update an old system. And then, I mean, it's just like he would be wasting his time and his effort because we're rolling in a new system. So those will all kind of go hand in hand. We do have bonuses on manager and senior manager that are not written into the comp plan. The updated comp plan will have them written in. Currently, a manager bonus is 200 and a senior manager bonus is 350. And we'll cover the other bonuses here in just a second, but those will be written in, and the bonuses are going to change to be more fair. Volume types, I think y'all all know, and I should have pulled up a screen where you could see your back office, but on your home page in your back office where it has those boxes, off to the left, it says customer volume. To the right, it says personal volume or qualifying volume. Down in the middle on the bottom, it'll have your group volume. The group volume is what qualifies you for rank. Your personal volume rolls into your group volume for rank qualification. And personal volume and customer volume can be the same, because remember I told you customer volume will qualify you. So what you're wanting to see when you're looking in your back office to make sure you have a personal order that qualifies you is at least 100 PV difference between what it says on personal qualifying volume and customer volume. And that customer volume and the qualifying volume is on a 4-week rolling cycle. So it's not going to match up with your group volume. Very rarely will it be the same. Sometimes it'll be more than your group volume because it's counting from the month before. It's a 4-week rolling cycle, so it just depends on where you fall. The group volume works off of a calendar month. So from the first of the month till whatever the last day of the month is, that's going to be your group volume, and that's what you'll get paid on. On the 10th of the month is when we get paid on our monthly, unless the 10th falls on a weekend or a holiday. And if so, we get paid the Friday before or the last weekday before. So here is what we currently have for customer bonuses. This is going to change some. We still haven't hashed out how this is going to look. But these numbers are a little bit over the top, I think. It's not so hard to hit a star 1, but star 5, 30,000 per month in customer volume would mean you had 3,000 customers ordering combos. So we're working on making this where it would be a little more fair and then look a little bit more like some of the other comp plans that are out there. We have a lot of influencers coming on board, and they may have 3 or 4 products that they are sharing. And we're trying to make it where people want to share and grow a customer business. So I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit better on the lower end than what we have. Bonuses, we talked about that a minute ago. The fast start bonus, same thing. It's on your new enrollee. It's not on you. You don't just only make money the first 3 months you're in the business. It's for when you bring new people on board. The clock starts for each one of them separately. And currently the clock starts when they enroll. That's going to change. It's going to exclude the time frame that they have ordered a sample, because sometimes somebody will enroll and order a sample in December and not get around to trying it until after Christmas. And now it's January and they start trying the product. And by the time they get around to ordering, their 90 days may be completely up. So we have it that'll be something that rolls in with the new system too. I don't think I don't think Tim will get it set up before the new system rolls in, but it will change so that their enrollment date will be their first order that's bigger than a sample. And I don't think any of us realize how much that will help us, but it will pay us more to do it that way. Okay, again, these bonuses are going to change a little bit so that they're more fair based on how much your volume has to be. This is just the payouts. These are going to be different. So we're not going to really cover these much, except remember I told you the manager's 200, senior manager is 350. In the new program that we're going to have, there will be re-rank bonus or a maintenance bonus that will go for an extended period of time. So if you hit manager and you stay at manager 3 months, there's going to be some sort of little bonus that you get every time that you hit manager again for X amount of months. Then you get to the next one, same thing for X amount of months. It's to motivate you to stay at the level where you are, gives you a little bit of extra money to help you until you get to the next level. They will expire after a while. You won't continue to get those, but it'll kind of cover you till you get to the next one. Okay, the leadership pool, this is kind of cool. It's 3% of global sales volume, and it starts at director. Other companies that I've been with, normally it doesn't start till you hit executive or senior executive type of volume, but this starts at director, and the number of shares you get goes up, and the amount the share is worth will vary based on number of people qualified to get shares and the total sales volume for the company. But it's just a nice little extra bonus that you get paid on your monthly check when you hit director or higher. Okay, I think this part is probably what confuses people the most. A lot of us came from a company that had a binary that paid to infinity, and you only had to build 2 legs, and it was just, it's different. What we have to understand is the comp plan is always going to pay out right at 50%, somewhere between 48 and 50% is pretty much standard across the board. It's just how do they figure out how to pay it, and how do they figure out how to not pay too much. So the way a unilevel works is it stops at level 7. You still can qualify your rank beyond level 7, but we only get paid out until level 7. Normally a manager, senior manager, even director, you don't have a whole lot of volume past level 3 anyway, but you're going to get paid 7% on your level 1, your level 2, and your level 3 when you hit manager. A qualified leg, look down here. It's not a qualified leg. You have to be 100 PV. A qualified leg is any personal retail preferred or social retailers with more than 10% in the past 28 days. So it doesn't have to be much. Manager, you cannot receive all your volume from one person. So 90%, which means at 1,500, you got to have 150 PV outside that one leg to hit manager. Senior manager, still at 2 legs. Now it's 70%. So one leg can only have 70%, which I'm not doing the math on 70%. It's a little bit harder. But it's still, you can have a lot of volume in one leg and still hit senior manager. When you get to director, it can only be 50%. So for example, let's say, who were our Sue? It was Sue and Bob, wasn't it? Sue has 15,000 in volume underneath her, but 10,000 of it is in one leg. She's got 15,000, so she's got 5,000 in one leg, 5,000 in the other. She's got 10 in the other, but that's enough for her to qualify as director because she's got 50% outside that one leg. If she had 15,000 in volume and 12,000 was in another leg, she would still be at senior manager. Still going to get paid the same unilevel pay. The only difference is going to be if she's due a bonus, her bonus she would not get a director bonus because she didn't qualify. And she wouldn't be getting that share in the global pool. So the same thing as you go down until you get to executive, and then it's at 40.
What am I doing?
40%. Somebody have a question? We get somebody that's not muted out, which is fine. If somebody has a question, I'll be happy to answer questions. Anybody got a question? Okay. So at 40%, that would be 20,000 of this would have to be, can only be 20,000 in one leg. And now we're at 3 legs. At senior director and executive, you're at 3 legs. And it doesn't matter how it's divided out as long as we're only counting 40% of that 40% of it is coming from your biggest leg. Because my math is easier when I'm doing rounded numbers. We're going to move down to the senior executive and the 1,000. And now you got to have 4 legs. 40% can only come from one leg. So if you had 40,000 in your power leg and you've got 3 other legs of any variety, divided up any other way, as long as only 40,000 of it comes from one leg. For executive, it would be 20,000, right? So you can have more in that leg. It just can't qualify you for that rank. You will still get paid your volume at these percentages all the way down to level 7 in that power leg, even over the 40%. This only determines your rank qualification, if you can move up to the next rank, and how many shares you get in the global pool. But you're still going to get paid all that volume. And I think a lot of people get confused and they think you can only count 40% of it and you only get paid on 40% of it. But that's not true. You get paid on that entire leg till you get to level 7. If it happens to go down below level 7, regardless of what you're qualified at, it's still going to stop paying at level 7. And that's the reason it's important to not build too deep. Because if you've got Sue on level 1, Bob on level 2, and now you put Karen on level 3 to help Bob, and Karen doesn't want to get left out, she wants help too, so you put somebody there. So you see, as you move down further, you're putting yourself where you're going to miss out on the volume from those people that are building. So you want to stay on your level 1 and level 2. If you teach your team to do the same thing and you teach them to pay it forward, then nobody's going to feel like they've been orphaned and you're not having to build deep. There may be exceptions to the rule. In fact, I promise you there'll be exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule. And that's okay. But in general, you want to stay on building in level 1 and level 2 to maximize your commission. And really, that's all there is to it. It is a very simple comp plan. There's not, 15 different ways to get paid. There's just those few little ways to get paid. We get paid pretty well. I've made more with this company than I was making with Zija. But it's just a simple comp plan. It's not complicated. There aren't hoops that we have to jump through for a leg to be able for it to be a customer as well as a retailer, for it to only have anything over 10 in volume for it to count as active. That's pretty good. So any questions? Was it any of it confusing? Nobody's got anything in the chat. Nobody's talking to me. And we're done 30 minutes in. I'm so proud of me. No, seriously, y'all ask questions if you have any. Anybody, somebody.
Dee Dee, if I unmute, my child's going to scream, and I'm sorry I ran
That's a,
late. We
that's
we had a
okay.
little family situation, but you did record this, right?
I did record it. I did
Awesome.
record it.
Okay,
Um,
good. I'm glad that we can share it.
yeah, so I have recorded it and I will upload it to YouTube and then it will be available for anybody. Um, I just want to be sure that there weren't any questions that were left. If anybody had any comments, I would be happy to explain anything else. But if there's not any, then I won't take up any extra time of anybody's. We'll just shut it down.
Dee Dee, I just have a quick question, actually. You were trying
Okay.
to explain, it could, because maybe this might be a question for someone else. You were trying to explain to me how if you max out, so if you max out two of your legs, right? We were talking about that a little bit. And then you're building that third leg. So if you max it out, what does it max out at? It maxes out at a percentage of what?
So
Can you?
really there's only you can't I guess you could max out two legs once you get down into the 40s. You could be, you could have three legs and two of them be at 25,000 PV and the other one have 100 PV. Well, that would be considered maxed out, but um they would have to be, in order for a leg to be maxed out at executive, it would have to have over 20,000 in volume. So if you were going for executive and you had three legs and you got to 50,000 points, but you're still not showing that you've hit executive, it would be because one of those legs was over 20,000 in volume. So, and again, I think this is what's most important. That 25,000 in volume, if it fell, all those orders, all those customers, all those retailers fell within 7 levels, you're still going to get paid on all that on the level pay. You just won't hit the level of executive until you have 30,000 in volume outside that one leg. So you could have two more legs, you could have 10 more legs. As long as you have 30,000 in volume outside of that one leg that may have another 30,000 itself, you just have to have 30,000 outside that one leg. And the same thing for senior executive, it would be 60,000. 60,000 has to reside outside of any one leg.
Okay, I do understand. Is there an easier way from the back office to read that? Like or how much you have exactly in each leg?
You can't really see what you have in each leg, but you can tell what you need to complete the rank. So again, I wish I had pulled up a page that we could look at, but if you're sitting on the display on your home page in your back office where it tells you what you're qualified as, and it says you're qualified at senior manager, but you've got 15,000 points and it doesn't make sense to you. You can click on next rank and it will take you to the rank that you haven't yet qualified for. And then down below that, it says rank qualifications, I think it's what it says. And you click on that, it will kind of flip over a display that will show you all the things that you need to qualify for that certain rank. And it will check them off if you've qualified. And it'll tell you that you are active and that you have the number of qualified legs. And then it will tell you, even though you're group volume says you've got 30,000 points, you still hadn't gotten past director because it's all in one leg, right? It'll tell you how
Right.
much more you have to get outside that big leg in order to get to director.
Okay.
So it will give you the exact number that you still lack, but it won't tell you how much is, I mean, you can do the math. It's kind of intuitive, but it doesn't divide it by leg to tell you what's in each leg.
I think when we get the new back office, hopefully that's going to be a little bit more clear to read too.
Yeah, yeah. And I can do a zoom on that to show how to do that, but it's really easy to see what is your next qualification. And anybody who has used the tool in the under the business where it tells you what your rank, what is it called, Dory? The rank up report or something. It's the very bottom of the list, but it tells you
Okay.
who's close to the next rank.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
think it is rank up report.
yeah, rank up report. Anyway, that one can be deceiving, and they'll say, well, I'm 88% to hitting the next rank, or you'll see somebody that's on your team that's 88%. 75% of it is outside of your volume qualifications. So if you're active, you have your 2 qualified legs. What is the other one? There's 3 things that just about everybody's qualified for. And then there's the other 25% is going to be your volume. So it can be deceiving when you're looking at that and you think you're 88% there and you only have 400 PV out of 1500, so you almost have to look at it to know where people are. Anybody else have any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nobody's talking tonight. If nobody else has any questions, then I'm going to say we're done. And I will get it uploaded to YouTube and get it posted for you to share with people who weren't able to get on the call.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hopefully it's a little clearer than it was before. Most people don't get confused until they get to the unit level and moving from one rank to the next, but it can be a little bit confusing. You're welcome, Nancy. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Y'all have a good night. I figure out how to do it. Let's